Hello and welcome to today's tailoring class. So in today's class, we'll be doing the knife pleat, the accordion pleat, the kick pleat, inverted pleat, and the stitch on pleat. If you've not watched any of our videos, I would advise that you refer to them and then you'll be able to see what we've done so far in the tailoring class. In the previous video, we did the box pleat. Today, we are going to be doing the other pleats as well. Before we carry on, I would like to say that if you've been with us for a while, welcome back. And if you're joining us for the first time, that you subscribe and hit on the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video is uploaded. As usual, we don't only upload tailoring videos, we do other videos as well, so you can benefit from the other videos too. So let's get on with today's project, which is the knife pleat. As you know, you have to take the circumference of your model or the figure you're making the pleat for, and then you add your seam allowances. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of that. I'm just going to carry on and just do the pleating for you to see how it's done. If you want to know how and where to add your seam allowances, how to start a full skirt and finish it off, and all of that, refer to our box pleat video. But for this video, I'm just going to be making the pleats. So I want the width of my pleats to be 1 inch. So as you can see along here, I've gone ahead to put in all my 1 inch markings at the edge of the fabric. If you'd like to know the length of the fabric I'm working with today, that is about 23 inches long of fabric I'm working with, and the width is 7 inches. This is just for demonstration purposes, so I'm not taking the measurement of any model at all. And then I've put in my markings. So I'm doing a full pleat, and I explained what a full pleat was in the previous video, so you can refer to that and then you get to know what it is. Now let me mention that the knife pleat is pleated in one direction, so you decide which direction you want your pleats to go. If you want all your pleats to be facing towards the right direction, then you are pleating all of them in that direction. If you decide to let all of them go towards the left, then they are all going towards the left. So for this one, I'm pleating towards the right. I'm going to skip this marking, then I'll come to this line, pick on this, skip that and put it here. I'm skipping this because this will be my seam allowance. So I did not start from this line. I moved on to this one, skipped that, and I placed it here for my first pleat. I'll put in my pin so that my pleat is in place. I'll come on the next one, pick this, skip this, put it here. Okay. So as you can see, I have done 2 pleats already, all going towards this side. I'm going to carry on with it and then I'll bring it back for you to see. So as you see it now, I've pleated towards one direction. Okay, I went on to finish the hem as usual, to finish the hem even before putting in my pleat and then stitching it on the top. So basically that is it for the knife pleat. I'm going to try and finish at the top here with a band. Okay, with this band, I'll stitch at a 1/4 of an inch. So from here to here, 1/4 of an inch, turn it over like that, fold a 1/4 of an inch as well, and then top stitch it just to finish it off beautifully for the knife pleat. Now let me just say that you can, for the knife pleat, you can decide on how wide you want your pleat size to be. That's up to you. You can do it 1/2 inch pleat, 1 inch pleat, 1.5 inch pleat. It doesn't matter. But the most important thing is they should all be facing towards one direction, either going the left or going the right. That's up to you what you want to do. So that is it for the knife pleat. Our next pleat will be the accordion pleat. Okay, so stick and stay, and let's carry on. We're going to be doing is accordion pleat. Okay, for demonstration purposes, I just cut a piece of fabric 11 inches in width and about 7 inches in 11 inches in width and about 7 inches high. Accordion pleat is just like the knife pleat, so you're pleating all of them towards one direction, either the left or the right. So it's quite similar to the knife pleat. The only difference is that this pleat has the pleats pleated quite small. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to lift my fabric for you to see the markings I've made along the fabric. I've just made a 1/4 inch 1/4 inch or 1 centimeter of markings all along it. Okay, I've made 1 centimeter of markings all along it. So for that kind of pleat, it's very tiny. So as usual, I'm going to be picking on this line, skipping this one and dropping it, the usual way of pleating. Okay, but it's quite tiny, so you usually do it with an iron. Okay, as you can see, the pleat is very tiny, so it's best to do it with an iron. And when you put in your first fold, you iron it down so that you have it in place before you move on to your next fold in that manner. So I'm going to carry on and finish pleating off the camera and bring it back for you to see, because the technique is just the same as usual. Okay, I'm going to carry on and do the pleating and bring it back for you to see the effect of that. So that is it for the accordion pleats. I've gone ahead to put the pleats in place and ironed it down, so it looks like the accordion. If you know the accordion instrument, yeah, it looks like the accordion. That is where it got the name from. I'm going to run a stitch at the top here to keep it in place, to keep the pleats in place, and then put a band on top as well to hold the pleats together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do all of that and bring it back for you to see the final effect of the accordion pleat. So I've done that. I've put a stitch at the top to keep the pleats together. You can see this is a beautiful pleat. Look at that, the way it opens up and closes in. Okay, now the next thing is just to finish off the top of the pleats. So I'm going to be putting this band here. It's about 2.5 inches in width. Okay, I'm going to stitch at 1/4 inch, turn it over, fold it in, and then stitch it on top as well. I'll just do that and bring it back. Then we move on to the inverted pleats. Okay, so this is accordion pleat, beautifully finished with the top finished beautifully. You can see that all the pleats are going towards the right. It's just like the knife pleat. The only difference is that accordion pleats are much smaller in size than the knife pleat, and this is beautiful. You know, look at the way it opens like the accordion. So that is it. So that is our third pleat. Now let's go on to the fourth pleat, which is the inverted pleat. Okay, I've just gone ahead to cut a little piece of fabric, which is about, let me give you the measurement of the fabric. It's very small. It's about 11 inches by 7 inches, but I've folded the edge in. I'm going to put a stitch. So this is going to be the hem. I'm going to put a stitch in before we start doing the pleat. So go on and finish it off, and let's come back and then do the pleat at this point. Okay, so I've finished the fabric at the bottom. I've done my hem. Let's carry on and do the inverted pleat. So you have to decide where the middle of the fabric is, or yeah. So I just put a crease in there to find the center of the fabric. Now from that point, I've decided that I'm going to be pleating at 1/2 inch apart. So from the center of the crease, I'm going to be measuring, putting in 3 lines, all at 1 inch. Okay, I've decided that I'm going to be pleating at 1 inch apart. So from the center of the line, I'm going to be putting on 3 lines, all at 1 inch apart, both on the left and on the right. So let me just say that the inverted pleat is let me just say that the inverted pleat is the opposite of the box pleat. Okay, if you remember the box pleat. Now let's look at the box pleat again. This is the box pleat, the right side of the box pleat. When we look at the reverse side, which is here, this is the inverted pleat. Okay, so the inverted pleat is the opposite of the box pleat. You may have heard it a number of times. People also call the inverted pleat kissing pleat. Okay, so the pleats meet in the center. For this pleat, the pleats meet in the center, and this is our center. So you always have to find your center and then put your lines away from the center, and then you make sure you are pleating towards the center. Okay, so I've made 3 lines away from my center line, which is the crease, if you can see it, and then I've made 3 lines away. I'm going to pick this line, skip this one, and drop it on the middle line. Okay, so you have to put in 2 markings. Okay, rather than 3, you're putting in 2 markings away from your center line. So if you include your center line, that makes it 3 markings. Well, you put in 2 markings, so 1, 2. So I'm going to pick on this one, skip this one, and place it on the center line, because we want the lines, the pleats meeting in the center, and that is what people call kissing pleats. Okay. Okay, so we pleat to face each other like that. I put a pleat, I put a pin in place to keep the pleat there. Then I'll pick on this line, skip this one, and bring it to the center. So the pleats are meeting in the middle. Now I'll talk about where you can see some of this pleat. You can see it in the skirt. You can also see it at the top or at the yoke area of a dress for pregnant women. So this gives room for the tummy area, you get it. So once you've done this, you can carry on and pleat the rest of your pleats, either coming towards this end for the rest of them. Okay, like that. Or you can also pleat away. So it's up to you what you decide to do. But the pleat gets its name from this, just as the box pleat got its name from the box in the middle. For the inverted pleat, it gets its name from this shape here in the middle. So we can have just 1 pleat or 2 pleats. It's up to you what the style is really, but basically this is the inverted pleats. I'm going to carry on and finish off the top and bring it back. So that is it for the inverted pleats. So the pleats meet in the middle, like I said, and that is how it got its name. I finished it stitching on top of it. I'm going to stitch a band on top of it as well, and that will be it for the inverted pleats. Okay, that is it for the inverted pleats. As you can see, finished off beautifully at the top and at the bottom. Our next pleat we'll be working on will be the stitched on pleat. So actually the stitched on pleat is basically every pleat we've talked about today, but we just stitch it down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to be demonstrating that in the knife pleat. I'm just going to pick another fabric, pleat it in the knife pleat area, and just stitch it on a little bit at the bottom here. So that is basically the stitch on pleats. So I have about 12 inches wide fabric, and I have about 18 inches, so 12 by 8 inches fabric I've prepared. As usual, wherever you're going to be doing your pleats, you have to finish off the hem like we did in the other videos. So you go ahead and then you finish off the hem of your fabric. That is about, you turn in about a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch, okay, to finish off the hem. 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch to finish off the hem. I'm going to do that and then run a stitch on top of it and then come back with it. So I've finished the hem of my fabric. Because I'm doing a knife pleat, I'm just going to start putting in my markings. Now I decide how wide I want my pleat to be, and I'm going for 1 inch wide. I can go for 1/2 inch if I want it, but I'll go for 1 inch wide. So I'm going to pick on this line, skip this one and place it here like that, and I'm pleating towards the right. I'm going to press it down and bring it back, and then we take it from there. Now that I've pressed it down, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch on it. So I'll take my pin out for the first one, and I'll run a stitch very close to the fold. I'm going to run about, I'll be doing about 1.5 inch stitch line. Okay, so I'm going to stitch about 1.5 inch stitch line, and then I'll leave it there. So I'll be doing that for all the rest. And that's where I'm going to end my stitch line. So I'm going to do that, put the stitches in, and then I'll bring it back. Okay, so that is it. You run a stitch on it, and basically that is it. So you can go ahead to finish, to make a full skirt out of this if you want to, but that is the technique for a stitched on pleat. We've come to the end of this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give our video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done that already, and hit on the notification bell to be notified when